Folks, David here on the Vintage Future, and I want to do this 7-month update review on these Grant Stone brass boots in Battle Assy Minerva, which Grant Stone is calling the Saddle Tan Veg, but it's Battle Assy Minerva, I believe in the cognac color. So these started off, you know, like an orange with a lot of yellow underneath, and they were really pristine and uniform and clean, and this is what they look like after 7 months of hard wear. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to look like this for you. It just depends on your lifestyle, right? So just know that this is a very versatile leather. Like Dale Aero Surfer LV, he's got this pair. Or if you look at Jake from Almost Vintage Style, you look at his White Clouds here, which are several years old at this point. Or you look at these by AJ2603. He's a buddy of mine. He lives in India. He does some reviews of his own. He's done a couple of them on YouTube. If you look at all these guys' pairs, you'll see that, you know, they haven't really beaten theirs up, and they're still looking really nice. And in fact, it's a totally separate look that looks just as good in a different way. You know, the surface of theirs is, I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like crystallized, you know? It's just developed all this surface character that to some extent gets covered up on mine because mine have just gotten so dirty and dark, so it's kind of harder to tell. So I have a strong appreciation for that look, and this leather could do that look really well if you really care for it, or if you're gonna beat the crap out of it like I have, it can look cool in a different way, like this, really gnarly and wild, right? So this is my pair. 7 months. I've done all kinds of things in these. That's how they look like this. You know, I've done my yard work, mowed the lawn, done gardening, watered. You know, when I'm watering, a lot of times water from the hose drips onto the boots. You know, I've dug in the dirt, gone under the house, you know, gone on hikes, played with kids. I said all this in my last video, but those are the things I've been doing in these, and so that's why they look so beaten. For the first 4 months, I wore them about 4 times a week, and then the last 3 months I've worn them about once or twice a week. So just to give you an idea of how much wear that is. And when I wear a boot, I wear it all day, so one wear equals, you know, 12 to 14 hours, sometimes 16 hours. But yeah, these things I'd say have aged quite well. They've been conditioned one time. Just a few days ago I conditioned them with Bic 4. It was the first conditioning, and I was happy with the results. It didn't darken them anymore, but it just got some hydration back into the leather, and it's going to help that last even longer. This leather, I would say, as it's worn in, I wouldn't describe it as soft at all. It's very structured and has some rigidity to it, and it's almost more like wearing a shell. Not shell cordovan. I'm just saying it's like wearing like kind of a hard shell. Like with ice cream, you pour the shell chocolate, you pour it on, and it gets like hard around the ice cream. It's more like that. So it's comfortable because it fits your foot well. It forms to the shape of your foot really nicely. That's the idea behind a lot of veg tan leathers. That's why they use them for gun holsters and stuff like that, because it'll form to the shape of that gun, and then it'll stay just like that even when you remove the object. And so it's good for footwear in that sense. So it's comfortable in that way, but I wouldn't say it's comfortable in this like comfy, cushy kind of way. That's more softer leathers like Utah, or even Dublin SX, Derby, that family from Horween, or obviously Chrome XL would be in that category. Suede, a lot of rough out kind of leathers are in that category. It's just really comfy, cozy, cushy. This is not like that. It's more like a rigid shell that's comfortable because it remembers the shape of your foot. So that's my take on it there. Some other cool patina in here on the tongue as it's rubbed against the hardware and the laces. I think that looks really nice. But these things show no sign of letting up, you know? There's nothing that's gone wrong. Nothing's failed. I think these are going to be good for years to come. Obviously, I'm going to have to resole at some point. Like any wedge sole, these have been compressing, and they're only going to last so long. These ridges have begun to wear off. This leather Grant Stone patch is pretty defaced at this point. This is a cut from stomping on a shovel when I was digging. So obviously a wedge sole is not something I should have been digging with, you know, but you know, they're my beater boots now, so that's what I do. But I'll probably resole these with like a lug sole or something the second time around. That's something more suited to doing the things I do in these boots. But other than that, these wedge soles have not given me any problems, and the uppers haven't. The hardware hasn't. Everything's good. The stitching, the mock stitch hasn't failed. You know, it's a solid pair of boots. The leather heel counter has formed to my feet. The insoles have broken in nicely to the point where they're getting more comfortable with each wear, not less comfortable. Sometimes, you know, with a cheaper piece of footwear, after a long time, it starts to lose its structural integrity, and then you get these weird like lumps and bumps in insole, and it's less comfortable, and this hasn't been that way. The one downside I'd say, which is super subjective, so this is not a knock on Grant Stone, is that the arch support that they use is not super comfortable for the particular shape of my arches. Super subjective, as I said. Everyone has different feet. There's no way any boot company, unless you're bespoke, can plan for every single person's feet. So are they uncomfortable? No, but they're not particularly comfortable for my feet. I mean, I can wear them all day and it's not going to cause me pain, but I notice a marked difference with some of the other boot brands that I wear. Even some of the ones like Viberg that don't really have arch support to speak of. These are comfortable, but of the pairs I have, they're the least comfortable for my particular arches. So that's just something you're going to have to try for yourself. There's no way of knowing if a boot's gonna really be nice for your foot shape or not as far as the arch and stuff goes until you try it. So, but yeah, this is a little snapshot for you. 7 months of wear. I hope it answers some questions, gives you some inspiration. This is a wonderful leather. I couldn't be happier with this leather. And I think that this particular design actually looks a bit better once it's worn in. This design here, this apron stitch, the mock stitch here, I think it looked a bit odd and awkward when it was new. It was just too clean. Not enough breaking of these lines, you know, but once you start to crease the vamp a little bit and get some wear on these things, I think the boot really comes alive. Doesn't mean you have to beat it up. There's another pair, my buddy Dale, he beat them up hiking around in Alaska. I think those things look awesome. I was really happy with what he did with those, you know, despite the fact that they're shell. Often people think you shouldn't beat up your shell, and I actually agreed with that for a long time, but seeing what he did with these, I think it just looks absolutely captivating. And I think that this is a boot that looks better when it's got a little bit of wear on it. So that's my assessment of the Grant Stone brass boot. I'm still thankful to have it. I'm glad to wear it, proud to wear it. Really happy with this leather, and I'm going to be wearing these for a long time to come. So thanks for watching my video. I hope it answered your questions, and as I always say, let your boots take you to places more important than the boots themselves. Have a great day, guys.